And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard, and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but the most fun way is sitting down with the designers of those games to play them. Today, we are going to be diving into Runecairn, which is a Norse-inspired Souls-like game, but was made before everyone was trying to make Souls-like games, and did just have a beautiful hard copy version drop over on Exalted Funeral. The link below our beautiful faces will take you right over there. But let's meet the designer, Colin. Colin, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Colin, Colin Le Sueur. I'm on Twitter at ByOdinsBeardRPG, and I release adventures, games, and supplements under ByOdinsBeardRPG. So yeah, Runecairn is a Norse fantasy TTRPG based on Dark Souls, and it's a hack of Cairn, which is a streamlined D20 system.
Awesome. And it looks like our friends from over on Skullboys channel just hopped in to say hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to go ahead right at the top of our show, though I will remind people we are giving away a copy of the game from our friends over at Exalted Funeral. And so I'm going to go ahead and open that giveaway. You can type an exclamation point key item to get entered into a chance to unlock more amazing power at your tabletop. So if you type in exclamation point key power, you'll get entered in a chance to win. I'll make that drawing at the end of the game. So it looks like folks are ready and excited. The game can be played with more than just a player and a warden. You in the version you sent me, there is solo rules, there's expanded character rules in the advanced version, but we're going to be playing the kind of core experience, which is one player, one warden. Colin, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of some of the things that we're going to experience over the next little bit in the setting and the mode of play that we're about to engage in?
Sure, yeah. So Runecairn is set in a post-Ragnarok Norse fantasy world. So all the gods are dead or missing. The world has been reborn into a lush greenery after everything's been destroyed during Ragnarok. I'll be leading you through an introductory dungeon where bringing in the Dark Souls elements, the Souls-like elements. There's bonfires that link the 9 realms. So when you sit at a bonfire, that restores all of your health and lost attributes, but you also respawn all the defeated enemies. So like in a Dark Souls or a Souls-like game, bonfires, they're the risk reward. So you can sit at them and you can regain health, but all the enemies come back to life. So the main combat is, because it was built for one-on-one. It's a very responsive and reactive combat. So rather than rolling to hit and rolling for damage, it's automatic hits, and your armor will mitigate that damage. And you can also have a chance to react to the attacks from the enemies. So rather than taking the hit, you can dodge out of the way, you can parry, you could potentially repel them with a magical barrier. So it's meant to be streamlined. So it's built on Cairn, which is a streamlined D20 system. So it's a roll under system. So the lower the roll, the better, except for when it comes to damage. So it's fast, reactive. So it should be a lot of fun.
Awesome. And if you're just joining us, you can win a copy for yourself if you type in exclamation point key item. You do have to be following. You have to be over on Twitch in order for that to work. But we, contrary to normally we do character creation in advance, do character entanglement. But if you're going to stream a Souls-like game, you got to let everybody watch you make your character, is what I know. And I also will tell everybody, I have never played a Souls-like video game in my life. So this is as close as I'm going to get. I do watch my children play them a lot, and then I tell my children, oh, you should stop dying every single time they do. So hopefully they'll show up in the chat and start telling me to stop dying. Let's talk a little bit about character creation and chat. Y'all are going to get me help help me pick my class when we get there. A lot of the other things we're rolling and not making choices around. But tell us a little bit about character creation. Let's walk through it.
Yeah, so to start off, I'll get you to roll on the names table. So you roll D100, and that'll get you your name.
All right, I rolled an 8.
8. All right, that is Ausa. So all of the names are based on like Old Norse or Icelandic names. So that's ASE is Ausa, is your name.
Okay, Alsa.
All
Awesome.
right. So next table is physique. So that's going to be a D10.
All right, D10, 7.
7 is a short physique. So Ausa has a short physique.
All right. And I'm not seeing a place to write physique. I'm going to put that in notes. Is that, or am I just missing the spot?
Yeah, I normally put that in notes.
Okay. And is that like, I can remember that I'm short and be like, I'm short sometimes, or is that just for fun?
Yeah, it's flavor, but it's also like it helps kind of helps you picture the character in your head.
Awesome. What's next?
Right. Next is skin. So that's D10.
1.
1. All right. So you've got birthmarked skin. So you can choose where the birthmark is and what appearance it takes.
Ooh, I'm gonna say I've got a big long birthmark on my arm, and it kind of looks like a boat.
Excellent. Maybe you were a Viking raider in a past life.
Maybe, who knows?
All right. Another D10 for hair.
Hair. All right, we got 5 for hair.
5 frizzy hair.
Frizzy hair.
Next, D10 for face. Just
right.
what type of face you have.
That's 7.
7. So that is fierce.
All right.
Okay, next is speech. So another D10.
5.
5. So you speak in a formal manner.
Formal speech. All right.
All right. The last 2 are virtue and vice. So both D10s.
So 3 and a 4.
3 and a 4. All right. So you're courageous yet deceitful, which is an interesting combination. So these are all characteristics that you had in a past life. So as now this is your new life, you can choose to follow your past life, or you can forge your own way and carve your own path.
Okay, cool.
All right. So you can. What kind of pronouns would Ausa be using?
We'll do he, him.
He, him. Okay. All right. So next we roll ability scores. So there are 4 ability scores: strength, dex, wits, and spirit. Strength and dex are fairly self-explanatory. Wits is the equivalent of intelligence, and that's going to determine your skill at interrogating, investigating, provoking. And spirit is similar to charisma or wisdom. So that's going to be used for saves against charm, self-control, and how strong your self-belief is.
Okay.
So if you want to do 3d6 down the line, and then you can swap any 2.
Ooh, okay. All right. I did not so bad. So I got 13, 10, 13, 9. So nothing crazy wobbly one direction or the other.
So one thing that might play into it is your strength.
Yeah.
So once you hit 0 resilience, which is the HP equivalent,
okay,
you need to do a strength save to determine whether or not you die. So having a high strength is beneficial, but it's not the be all and end all.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. Strength is almost always my dump stat for a character. So I'm gonna weight these 13s on the back end. Maybe actually here I can only swap 2, right? So Yeah, we'll swap strength and spirit, and we'll go with more of a mind build to start, unless it's a physical
Cool.
build. So I'll regret that later, but it's fine.
All right. So now roll. So there's two rolls that make up your resilience score. So the first one is vigor. So vigor is the important one. So once your vigor hits 0, then that means your character's gone. So your character's lost to the darkness. So vigor determines your self-determination, drive, and focus, and it's what stands between you and the hollow void. So
Okay.
essentially, this is why you've come back. This is why you're still going. Is your vigor.
Okay.
So if you roll a d6, that'll determine your vigor.
I got 3 vigor.
3. Okay, that's not bad. And so because it's a Souls-like, death is not the end, and every time you die, you lose 1 point of vigor.
Okay.
So you've got potentially three deaths before
Okay.
you're lost to the void. Right. Next is vitality. So vitality is how hale and hardy you are. So that's another d6.
Okay. I got a 5 on that one.
5. Excellent. So you've got a total of what? 8 resilience.
Yep.
Cool. Right. So your resilience isn't quite hit points, but it's your ability to avoid damage in combat.
Okay.
So this comes from Into the Odd and from Knave and Cairn. So essentially, think of it as your how resilient you are, and how it's a combination of agility, of endurance, of stick-to-itiveness, just how good you are at avoiding damage.
Cool.
If your resilience drops below 0, then you start taking strength damage. And if any of your core abilities drop to 0, then you die.
Okay.
But you can respawn at a bonfire.
Awesome.
Cool. Right. So the last thing to decide is your starting class. So there are 4 basic starting classes, and there are 2 advanced starting classes that were introduced in Wardensaga. So the 4 classes are based on the 4 kind of archetypal TTRPG classes. So warrior, warrior, skald, seer, and scout. So warrior is the kind of the sword and board, up in your face, melee damage, blocking with the shield, attacking with the axe in this case. A skald is a kind of combination of cleric and bard. So a skald wields magic in the form of sagas. So it's essentially you use your voice as a weapon. So you're speaking the will of the gods, or you're channeling the power of the gods through your voice. So similar to Skyrim, the Fusroda in Skyrim.
Okay.
And you start with some magic like a lightning spear and a lightning knife, and you've also got an ability to shout to deflect an attack. So that's what you'd use to deflect an attack. Then the third type is Scout. So that's the rogue or thief class, or the equivalent. So Scouts start with double knives, and they can also backstab. So a big element of Dark Souls is positional combat and like backstabbing. So you can do extra damage with a backstab. They also come with a bow as well.
Okay.
And then the last basic class is the Seer. So this is like the wizard or the spellcaster. So their key item is a staff, and with that they can cast basic magic called Greystone. So it's basically a magical stone that they can throw as if from a sling. They also have a barrier spell to deflect attacks, and they have a choice between a slow spell to slow the enemy down, or what's called a Sather Spear. So it's essentially an energy spear that they can throw.
Cool.
So those are the 4 basic classes.
All right. But the new version also has the 2 advanced classes. Should I ignore those right now because I'm not advanced? or should we go ahead and check those ones out also?
No, there's no reason not to jump right into the advanced classes.
All right, so we've got Berserker is one of them. Tell us about Berserker.
So the Berserker is the classic barbarian class. So although Berserkers aren't like the way they've been depicted in kind of Hollywood films, it's not really doesn't really correspond to actual Viking history.
What?
But since this isn't a historical recreation, I thought it'd be fun to have a Berserker. So Berserker has a big two-handed sword and a bear or wolf skin headdress. They can rage in battle, which they give extra damage and take less damage. But if they rage for too long, then they'll end up just attacking everything and everyone around them, go into a frenzy with their sword.
Cool.
They can the rage they imbue themselves with the power of a beast, either a wolf or a bear. So it's if you're looking to get in and wreck stuff, then Berserker's the one.
Awesome. We've also got Pyre.
And then Pyre is a pyromancer. So essentially a blacksmith pyromancer. Pyres can channel the power of fire through their gloves. So they can throw fire, they can ignite a flame shield to deflect enemies. They can also imbue their gloves or their weapon with fire. So like you see on the cover of Wardensaga, there's a pyre that's essentially punching an undead skeleton, an undead skeletal snake. So that's its power. That's his power, channeling through the fire grippers, his gloves.
Cool.
So
all right, chat. So y'all get to pick my class. If Skald does sound to me based on stats, both a good build, but also for me that I love bard characters, I love cleric characters. So a mix of those two things, totally my jam. But if there's something y'all are interested in, we got a couple votes for Skald in the chat. Let me know, and we'll do it. We'll give people just a second for that. And you mentioned the new version that came out, the advanced stuff. So if people head over to EF, I think, do they still have both the original version and now the new hardback version in stock?
So the original core rules is sold out at Exalted Funeral. But they do have Wardensaga, which is the collection of the first 3 books. So the core rules, the adventure Beneath the Broken Sword, which is what I'm going to be running through today, and advanced rules, which is also available separately.
Bad Quill really wants me to do Berserker. I don't know that I'm built Berserker. But I think we've got more votes for Skald in there, and so 100% I think that's the way we're gonna go. So for Skald, what do I need to include on my character sheet?
All right, so let's have a look here. So your key item for Skald is a runic focus. So that's an item in the art. I've got it as a small hammer to symbolize Thor. So it's a focus that you hold in your hand, and that's what you use to channel the power of the gods.
Okay.
So that takes up, that doesn't take up any slots because it's a small item. So a big thing about Runecairn is inventory management. So every item or most items take up slots, and you start off with 10 slots. If you fill up all your slots, then you drop to resilience 0. So you can carry a lot of stuff, but you're going to be open. You're going to open yourself up and make yourself vulnerable. Okay. So
sometimes you might want to just do a naked run of something just to make sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. You could strip everything off aside from a key item and then just go crazy.
There you go.
All right. The armor that you get is reindeer hide, so that gives you a base of 1 defense. You also get a leather hood that gives you a +1 defense, so you have a total of 2 defense. Both of those take up 1 slot.
Okay. And I've got defense 2 because of that, you said?
That's right. So defense, that'll stop, that'll reduce the amount of physical damage that you take.
All right. I was trying to make the sheet fill properly.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Cool. What else do I have?
Cool. Next is your weapon, which is a steel sword.
Okay.
And that takes up 1 slot, and it's a d6 damage.
Cool. All right.
Okay. Next is your spell or your saga. So unlike a seer who carries a rune stone that has a spell etched onto it, your saga, your magic is etched into your mind.
Okay.
So you have only enough space to hold 1 saga at a time. Well, actually, you can. So your saga, it takes up 1 slot in your inventory. So you could theoretically hold multiple sagas, but that would take up fill
Slots
up
in
your
my inventory.
inventory.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So you can choose between a heal spell or a lightning spear spell.
Ooh, that's a good question. All right, folks. So I want heal or lightning spell. Let me know. We'll come back to that in just 1 second. Anything else we're gonna add,
Yeah.
or is that the last piece on my character sheet?
You've got 2 other items.
Okay.
One is a sacred waters. So essentially, you can either use that as holy water to throw on undead and do D10 blast damage. So that means any undead caught in the area, it'll do blast damage to. So
Okay.
it'll do kind of area of effect. You can also drink it to regain resilience. So it's multi-purpose.
Okay.
And then the last item is a sacrificial bundle. Sorry, the sacred waters takes up 1 slot.
Yeah.
But the sacrificial bundle doesn't, because it's a small item.
Okay.
So the sacrificial bundle, you can burn that at a bonfire, and that'll restore 1 point of vigor. So if if you're running low on vigor, you just toss that into the fire,
Cool.
and it'll restore 1 point. Because it's essentially a sacrifice to the gods,
Okay.
and they restore a bit of your vigor.
Okay.
So that should leave you with 5 free slots.
Oh, hold on. I was like, man, I'm very full. Then I just realized if I click these things over here, it will count them down below. So the hide and the hood each take 1 up. The runic item, the key item does not, and the steel sword does. And
Yeah.
then my saga, which universally everybody in chat said lightning spear.
Like the magic is pretty useful because magic ignores armor on enemies unless it's magical armor. So it'll hit instead of it being reduced by their armor, it'll just go to their resilience directly. So it's really useful.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. So I think that's everything on your character sheet. Okay.
Unless if somebody out there watching wants to draw a picture of my character, I'll add that in later.
Nice.
But yeah. Cool. The I was gonna say also if you're just joining us, I know that some people pop on. If you hit follow here on Twitch and hit ! key item, you'll unlock the power of Runecairn. We'll send you a copy from our friends over at Exalted Funeral, a copy of the beautiful hardback that they have in stock now. So if you have not yet, go ahead and hit follow and then hit ! Key item to get a chance to win that. But yeah, so we're all set up. Tell me how I pronounce my character's name again, even though I probably
Ausa.
Ausa.
Or however, it's ASE, so however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
All right. So let me see if there's so some things to tell you about for combat. If an enemy surprises you, then you'd roll a dex save to see whether or not you can go before them or whether you're actually surprised. So as it's a roll under, you'd have to roll under your dex score in order to match that, to meet that save.
Okay.
So you can have reactions in combat. So when it I'll say what an enemy is about to do, like rearing back to strike you, or it looks like they might be grabbing you, then you can choose to react to that. So
Okay.
you can either take the hit, or you can attempt to, as your scald, you can attempt to shout and deflect the hit, like
Okay.
deflect the attack. So as a scald, you'd need to make a spirit save. If you make that spirit save, then your shout is successful and you repel the attack and don't take any damage. Every time you use shout, it causes 1 fatigue. So there's a fatigue tracker on your character sheet. And as fatigue fills up your inventory, you can see kind of how you need to balance what you do versus how much damage you take and that sort of thing. Sometimes it's better to take the hit than to attempt to avoid it,
Okay.
depending on what your fatigue is like. Um, yeah. So so saves are roll under. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. Do let me know. So there's 2 other things. There's what's called a dire strike. So essentially, if you roll max damage, then some items have a special ability that happens when
Okay.
you roll max damage. And some enemies have dire strike as well. So that's usually if they roll 2 dice. Then if they hit max damage on both, then something additional happens.
Cool.
So it's to kind of replicate a crit in standard D&D.
Awesome.
All right. The other thing is if you take an attack if you have an attack that reduces you to 0 resilience exactly. So say you had 5 resilience left, you took 5 damage, then something special happens. I'd get you to roll on the omens table. So some weird stuff and sometimes occasionally beneficial stuff can happen as well.
Cool.
So if that happens, let me know.
All right.
All right, cool. Just go to the adventure here. So, in a long forgotten age, a raging war shattered and devastated the worlds of gods and men. Now green life blooms amidst the ruins. Wondrous and terrible beings roam the 9 realms. Civilization stumbles forward, fresh and reaching. Fate carves the skein anew, but there are loose threads, lost long ago in the wars, with no place in the tapestry. These threads must seek the fire within and carve their own path. So you're one of those lost threads. So the setup here, you wake in an echoing cave lit by a waiting bonfire, with little memory of who you are or how you arrived here. You wear your armor but carry no weapons or items. So this is an introductory adventure. So we're going to start you off with nothing essentially, except your armor.
So do I not have a steel sword then?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. There's a good chance you'll retrieve them as you play, but at the moment, just kind of ignore your items on your character sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna get up and look around the cave.
All right. So, embers from a waning bonfire crackle and drift around the echoing cave, flickering on the jagged walls damp with condensation. So you're gonna I'll let you know what you see. So you feel warmth from the bonfire. Light from the fire dances on a broken sword leaning against the cave wall. Smoke trails towards an opening to the east, masking the damp scent of the cave. And moss and lichen line the rough walls, growing with abandon.
Can I grab the hilt of that broken sword?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's rusted and dented. It's an iron blade that's snapped near the hilt. It's nearly dull, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So that gives you D3 damage when you use it, and it has no skills with it.
Okay.
So it's better than nothing, but only just.
All right. And I gotta scrape off some of that moss. It's like
Okay.
in my pocket also too, because you you never know when moss is going to come in handy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's warmed, and it smells slightly musky.
I'm gonna make my way slowly towards the cave entrance.
Mm-hmm. So there's no entrance, but it does lead deeper into the cave.
Deeper into the cave. Then the
Yeah.
exit, the
Yeah.
opening that I saw. I'm gonna make my way towards it.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, so there's a gradual incline, and you hear the intermittent sound of metal scraping on stone.
I'm gonna creep slowly closer, trying to hide in the shadows as I do as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah, there's lots of shadows. The bonfire casts heavy shadows, so you can easily hide. Um, so you see, once you emerge a little bit, two ragged, emaciated forms that stagger languidly from one side of the cave to the other, occasionally raising a withered arm to strike the jagged wall with a ruined sword hilt. They see you, but their eyes are empty voids.
Um, you said they're emaciated. What?
Mhm.
Tell me what. Tell me what are they wearing?
So they're wearing like tattered clothing.
Okay.
Their skin looks really weathered and drawn, and their eyes and skin is sunken. So they don't look they don't look alive, or they don't look living.
Okay. Are they responding to the noise that each other are making once as one hits the wall?
Kind of um just like it's almost going through to them, like they're just kind of barely perceiving it.
Okay. As I kind of watch, you said it's one moving around hitting the wall, or they're both doing it?
Yeah, one of them is no, they're both kind of yeah, they're both kind of just wandering around, like staggering around the cave.
Okay. Does it strike me as if like they are like hitting the wall and that's giving them a sense of where they're at, or is this look like they're searching for them, or does this look like mindless behavior?
It looks like a memory almost, like they're doing that to draw something out of like a long lost memory,
Okay.
like as if in remembrance.
Um, I'm gonna hit my sword. Like I'm gonna step forward, hit my sword against like the hilt of this broken sword against the wall,
Yeah.
and then like step back.
Okay. You do that, and the closest one turns, and it almost looks like he perceives you, and then kind of turns back and just like. Ugh. So there was almost something there, almost a spark of recognition, but but then it was lost.
Cool. Are there rocks on the ground nearby?
Yep, there are.
Can I pick up a rock and throw it near one of, like, throw it against a wall near one of them and see if I get a response from that?
Hmm. Yeah. So throw the rock. It smashes on the wall next to it, or next to one of them. It kind of almost like slowly, as if in water, like rocks back, looks down, and then just goes back to kunk, kunk.
How wide is like, is this, can I see a pathway forward back beyond them?
Hmm. Yeah, so the corridor, so past the two figures, the corridor narrows and then winds to the north, and you can see to the north a set of stone double doors that reach from the ground to the ceiling.
Um, I think I'm going to pick up another rock, and kind of throw it in between them and then try to quickly move past them as quietly as possible.
Hmm. Yeah, they're essentially moving in slow motion, so you've got no problem darting around them, and you can easily get past them without any issue.
Okay. Um, as I get up to the double doors, I just kind of check to see what condition they're in.
Hmm. So you can see the doors look to be hewn from the cave wall itself, and there's two enormous handles, probably about the size of a forearm, at the center of each door. So like as if you would open like this.
Okay. Um, I am going to try to pull on them, testing to basically see if they start to make noise or not.
Mm-hmm. So you like kind of slowly test. You want to make sure that it doesn't like.
Right.
So there is a bit of a scrape as the stone on stone starts to open. You can open it with very little resistance. So you would expect it to be massively heavy and very like hard to pull open, but they do open with surprisingly little resistance,
Okay.
with a little bit of noise.
Okay. Just look to see if there's a reaction from behind me.
No, they're still kind of just walking back and forth with their old sword on the wall.
Once it's open wide enough for me to slip through, I'll slip through and then close the doors behind me.
Okay. So as you start to open the door, you can see that the chamber that it leads to is filled with is an enormous chamber filled with stalactites and stalagmites. I'll move to here. So a sharp wind shrieks through the vast chamber as you enter. Craggy stalactites reach from the sunken ceiling, and gnarled stalagmites collect green water in shallow pools. So at the opposite end of the chamber, there's a set of towering carved doors similar to the ones you just entered. There's a smashed crater at the center of the chamber, strewn with broken chunks of stone. Far above, you can see an obscured ledge that's just visible behind a jagged stone outcropping. And on the opposite side, or kind of next to the doors, you can see what looks like a tunnel that's behind a cluster of stalagmites. And there are heavy, piercing stalactites that hang from the ceiling. They look precarious and barbed.
Excellent. So heavy stalactites above, double door on the other side, ledge up above, tunnel to one side,
Yeah.
crater in the middle with broken stones in the crater.
Yeah.
I don't see any of these other guys walking around hitting the wall, or nothing else moving around.
No, you don't see any additional movement in the room.
Okay. I'm gonna walk over towards the crater.
Okay.
Where's light coming from in here?
There are the moss and lichen on the walls light the room.
Okay, cool.
So enough that that you have no issues seeing.
I'll make my way towards the crater in the middle and these broken stones to check them out.
Okay. So there are radiating cracks within a deep indentation filled with broken stalagmites and shattered yellow bones.
Do they look... Does this look like detritus, or does this look symbolic or ritual?
It doesn't look. There's no meaning to it that you can see. It looks haphazard.
Okay.
And as if something has like caused this crater.
Okay.
Like So there's impact impact cracks that radiate from the center.
As I kind of, I'm going to start to sort through the bones and the stones.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, do I recognize what kind of bones these are? Are these evident or obviously human or animal, or is it indeterminate?
You can see a lot of them are smashed and like just kind of pulverized beyond recognition.
Okay.
But you can see what looks like human bones, like broken femurs, a large collection of bones.
Cool. I'm looking for the kind of the impact point,
Mm-hmm.
to see if I can tell specifically what maybe caused this cratering.
Okay. As you're kind of exploring the crater, you can hear up above the sound of something large walking around. You can hear crunching footsteps, slow, methodical footsteps
Is this like
from
coming from the ledge or coming from the ceiling?
coming from the ledge.
Coming from the ledge. I am gonna hide on the inside of, like, I'm gonna get low in the crater and kind of peek up over the edge just to see if I can see what it is.
Okay, so you peek out. So looking at the ledge, far above the floor, wind howls from an unseen alcove. You can see a hulking shadow that occasionally passes back and forth.
Okay.
As you're peering above and as you're inside the crater, you suddenly hear a flurry of movement from the ledge. You hear the thundering sound of an avalanche. A massive gray blur crashes down into the chamber in front of you, revealing a hulking humanoid shape, rocky and misshapen. A large bronze key hangs from its neck, and it wields an enormous stone club.
Cool.
It raises the club up. And what would you like to do?
I would like to scurry back over the crater for right now.
So you'd like to so this is an opportunity for a reaction.
Yeah, I think this is, I think I'm dodging is what I'm doing here.
Dodging. Okay, cool. If you want to give me a dex save, please.
D20 roll under, right?
That's right, yep.
I rolled a 3.
3, excellent. Yep, you nimbly dodge out of the way. That costs a fatigue to dodge. So if you add that to your sheet. The massive hulking thing in front of you rears back. So you can, since you successfully dodged its attack, you can either counterattack or you can continue to run if you'd like, or reposition yourself.
I am the game designer in me has very strong feelings about what's happening here. The player in me is going to play to find out, though. I'm gonna use my lightning spear and try to attack this thing.
So you don't actually have your runic focus on you.
I don't have my runic focus on me either. I have nothing. Oh no! In that case, I would like to keep on moving away from this thing. I think the easiest egress from this room is the tunnel, I believe. So I'm going to make my way towards the tunnel.
Cool. Okay. So as you run through the tunnel, you can hear the monster thundering behind you, and you can see it attempt to strike you, but you're far enough away that it misses, and it hits the top. It hits the stone cave wall above the tunnel, collapsing it behind you. So you're safely through.
But cut off from that room now. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Correct.
So now you're in an area. You see the soft flickering light of a bonfire that dances on the smooth stone walls of the hushed corridor.
Excellent.
So there's a bonfire in front of you. For the corridor continues further to the north, and there's a wolfskin wrap resting on a rectangular flat stone at the center of the corridor.
Cool. I'm gonna grab that wolfskin wrap. And do I mechanically, if I want to use the fire in dark, do I need to interact with the fire? Do I need to sit by the fire?
Yeah.
Cool. And then I'll sit by the fire to think about what the hell is going on.
All right. So sitting at the bonfire fills you with a sense of calm and warmth, and you feel a deep connection to the bonfire, and you feel connected to the other planes of the Nine Realms. You feel at peace, which is very different to the panic that you were feeling a few moments before.
Okay.
So yeah, you feel comforted, and you feel your spirit rejuvenated.
Awesome. Does that do anything on my sheet, or is that just this is just narratively the experience I have?
Yeah, if you'd taken any damage in the
It would have
previous
done. Okay.
encounter, then yeah, that would have healed it.
Awesome. And Merkin here is just
Oh,
joining us. For anyone who's just joining us, we are in the middle of playing Runesaga. It's okay that you're 43 minutes late. So far, I have lost everything I've owned, woken up by a fire, thrown some rocks, found a broken sword, and run away from a giant hulking thing with a brass key around its neck. That then smashed a cave behind me. Totally caught up at this point in time. You did miss character creation. It was excellent. The wolf hide that I picked up. What is it? What am I indicating on my sheet with that?
So one thing I forgot to mention, when you sat at the bonfire, that cleared all of the fatigue that you'd gained
Cool.
using your abilities.
Awesome.
The wolfskin wrap. So you open up the wrap, and you see a steel sword inside.
Excellent.
So that's the your starting class weapon.
Awesome.
So now looking at the steel sword is obviously of much better quality than the broken sword that you'd picked up previously.
Yeah, we'll just put that broken sword down, and somebody else can have that,
Yeah.
or it'll be here when I die. one of those two things.
All right.
And I'm having to keep this wolfskin wrap with me because I don't have anything else going on right now.
Cool. So it'll take up one slot if you carry it. Yeah. So after when you hold the sword, you feel memories of your previous life flashing back, including who you were before, and what happened to you. So what happened to Oysa in a previous life? Like what fate caused them to die the first time?
Oh, what fate caused me to die the first time? I think I was supposed to share the saga of the gods with a raiding party to inspire them. But our boat crashed on the shores of a faraway land, and we died there far from home.
Excellent, tragic, and inspirational. All right. So you gained your weapon and the ability to use the item skills for the weapon.
Okay.
Okay. So with the Scald, so you get with your sword, you get an ability called Sunder. So you can use that to tear through your opponent's armor for d6 damage, and it also ruins the armor and so that it removes one defense from their armor.
Okay.
So you can use it to like cut through their armor essentially. Cool. So the first time you use it. All right.
And does that cost a fatigue to use, or is that just a thing that happens?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got the bonfire, you've got the crumbled path behind you, and then the northern corridor that leads ahead. So you can hear dim echoing sounds of water.
Yeah, I'll make my way forward again, slowly, kind of listening to these sounds of water down this. I think you said it was to the north.
Yep. So the narrow corridor opens to a broad cavern with a high curved dome ceiling covered in mushrooms and lichen. At the center of the cavern lies a murky pool. A dusty skeleton sits against the eastern wall. So around the pool, there's a pungent smell of wet rot and decay. You can hear a dripping sound as condensation trickles into the pool. There's a crumbling skeleton that slouches, skull lolling with one leg outstretched on the ground. And then there's a jagged stone corridor to the north.
I will make my way towards the skeleton to take a closer look at it.
Okay. So as soon as you get within about 6 feet of the skeleton, it sits up, like cracks its neck, and stands up.
I was almost like I just attacked the skeleton and I dig in there now. I feel like a dummy.
All right, and it's making its way towards you.
I'm gonna attack the skeleton.
Okay.
I got a sword and a wolf wrap. I'm feeling bold.
All right. So you've got a steel sword, so that does d6. You automatically hit the skeleton, and it doesn't have any armor. So what's your damage?
3.
3. Okay. So you take a chunk out of the skeleton, kind of rocks back. It's falling apart a little bit, but it's still coming.
Okay.
Okay. It's got a spear in its hand. It rears back, and it looks like it's about to strike you with it. So you can either take the attack, like you can take the hit, or you can attempt to dodge.
I'm going to try to dodge out of the way.
Okay. So it's be a dex save.
Just out of curiosity, if I wanted to parry, what does that look like?
So you can attempt a strength save
Okay,
to parry the attack.
I'll try to dodge.
Okay.
No, I got a 17 that time.
17. Okay. The skeleton strikes you with the spear. Okay. You've got 2 armor.
Do I have armor?
You don't. You do not yet.
I mean, I should have just kept my mouth shut, but
thanks for keeping me honest. So it's done 6 damage.
Great. And that comes off my resilience, right?
That's right.
Awesome. So I got 2 left.
Okay.
I am gonna use my lightning spear. No, wait, I can't.
Well,
I can't use my lightning spear because I'm my runic focus. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to throw my wolf wrap over the head of this thing.
Okay, cool.
To blind it for a second.
Yeah. It's easy enough. It's slow moving. So you toss the wolf wrap, the wolf skin wrap over its head. So that leaves your inventory, so it frees up 1 slot. Cool. It's staggering around. It's kind of trying to pull at the wolf skin, so it'll miss its attack this turn.
That's fine. I want to try to take off the arm that it's using to primarily hold the spear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. If you can roll a strength save to see if you can wrest the arm out of its socket.
Dump stat. That's an 8. I made it.
Excellent. Yeah. So you kind of push your foot against the skeleton, just pull its arm off, effectively disarming it. So the skeleton arm clatters to the ground with the spear.
Cool.
With its other hand, it pulls the wolfskin wrap off, and that's its action for this round.
Great. I'm gonna try to hit it again with my sword.
Okay. Yeah. Go for your damage.
That's a 6 this time.
6. Okay. So you can see it stagger back. And because you've reduced it to 0 resilience, I'm going to roll a strength save for it. That's to determine whether or not it suffers critical damage.
Okay.
So it manages to hold itself together, but it did take damage to its strength as well because you reduced the resilience to less than 0.
Okay, cool.
So it's weaker now than it was before. It rears back with its 1 arm, and it's going to attempt to club you with its hand.
I think I am going to try to dodge again.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do. I rolled a 12.
Excellent. Yeah, so you dodge out of the way, and it kind of
nope. Sorry, that's a failure because I switched those things around.
All right. Okay. Okay. So unarmed attacks are D4. So it does 3 damage.
That's enough to reduce me to below 0 on my.
Okay, so you took one. So you took 2 damage to take you to 0,
Uh-huh.
and then you took 1 damage. So that 1 damage goes against your strength.
Okay.
So now your strength is reduced to or by 1.
Okay.
And you need to make a strength save to avoid critical
Great,
damage.
Great. Oh, that's 1.
1. That's an automatic success. So you manage to power through the slap that you got from the skeleton and hold yourself together. So you're now at 0 resilience. So any additional hits that you take will come right off your strength.
Okay.
Yeah, but the skeleton is also in a similar position. So it's up to you if you want to stay in the fight or try something else.
I'm gonna try to stay in the fight. We're gonna hit this thing again.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 5.
5. Okay, so that's 5 more damage off of its strength, and that takes it. Okay, so that is a 5.
Merkin here over on YouTube wants to know, asked if I was a warrior or skald. I thought only warriors had the parry skill. Can only warriors parry?
Well, it would be a different kind of parry.
Be a different kind of parry.
You can parry, but it wouldn't be as effective as if a warrior
cool.
parried with its with the axe. All right. So yeah, that you strike it with your steel sword, and the skeleton crumbles to the ground.
Cool.
And it's dead,
Awesome.
permanently dead.
I am not doing great. I kick the bones around. I'm gonna grab that spear, I think.
Okay. So the spear is it takes up 1 slot,
okay.
and it does a d6.
Okay.
You also get there's an additional ability you get with it. Let me find what it is here. So you get an ability called Thrust. And what that does, you can lunge forward to extend the range of your weapon and strike targets up to 10 feet away, and that causes fatigue.
Cool.
So it's good at keeping them at bay.
I'm also obviously going to retrieve the most important item in my inventory, my wolfskin wrap.
Excellent.
Before I fought this thing, I was like, is it normal to spam bonfires in this game? And it feels like right now that it is.
Well, so yeah, you can absolutely sit down at the bonfire again. But that would bring the skeleton back to life.
It would bring the skeleton back to life. So anytime I sit at a bonfire, not just when I die and go back to a bonfire.
That's right, yeah.
Anytime I sit it. So it's a choice I have to make. All right, cool. It's a big cavern. I'm gonna go inspect the waterfall first then.
Okay. Right, so it's
the pond, the pool.
Yeah. So the depth is impossible to gauge, and the sides are slick with green algae. You can inspect closer if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm going to inspect closer, and I know the depths are impossible to gauge, but I also have a spear, so I'm going to use that to gauge the depths a little bit.
Yeah. So the spear is about 10 feet long, and just using the maximum of your reach, you can feel the bottom of the pond. You can feel the spear chunk into the cave ground.
Okay. If I move the spear around down there, do I feel anything, or does it just feel like a big empty pool of water?
You can feel something down there, something loose, but you can't quite tell what it is from like just manipulating the spear.
Does it feel like clicky, like there's a whole lot of small things, or does it feel like muddy, like it's a kind of a uniform substance?
So it feels like something sitting on top of mud, like there's something firm and solid on top of it.
There's a something down there.
Yeah.
I am going to I'm gonna as much as I can, scoot that thing into a position where I feel like it's as close as possible, and I generally know where it is. Essentially, I'm like moving it up
Mhm.
next to the wall, right, of the thing, and then I'm going to go in and try to grab whatever it is.
So because you're kind of paying so much attention and manipulating the ground in the pool, you can spot on the opposite side of the pool. There's another skeleton that's hanging on the edge,
Oh,
like just hidden in the murky dark of the pool
cool.
or the yeah.
As I get ready to dive in and make eye contact with that skeleton, can I thrust this spear into its face?
Yeah, so it's not actually facing you. It's like so it's facing the side of the pool.
Got you.
So because it's unaware and because you've got the spear, you can easily just spear it through the back of the head,
Yeah, I would like to do
and that
that.
yeah, and yeah that destroys it.
Excellent. I was like, this is obviously a trap.
And you can see
Um,
the skeleton let go, and it just kind of floats down to the bottom
cool.
of the pool.
I'm still gonna try to go down and get whatever that is now, feeling much more confident until the bottom of the pool skeleton gets me.
Yeah, so you dive down. It is pitch black and it's like murky, and you're kind of covered in algae as soon as you dive in. You know where it is though. The item that you're looking for, you have a good idea because you were digging around with the spear. So you can retrieve it with not a lot of issue. Um, it's uh, it's kind of crystalline shaped, and it feels slightly warm to hold it. And even through the murk of the algae, you can feel it glowing, or you can see it glowing and giving off some light. What you've got there is a soul remnant.
Okay.
So souls are the XP and currency of Runecairn.
Okay.
So you can either break it and absorb the soul into your body, which you can then spend at a bonfire to strengthen yourself, or to clear fatigue, a couple of other things, or you can save it. If you break it and then absorb it into your body, when you die, you lose that. Like that soul gets dropped, and
Okay.
you have to go back and retrieve it.
Cool.
But if
Um,
it's in the physical form, then it's safe if you die.
Interesting. Um, awesome. I am gonna go back to the fire
Okay.
after this.
Yep.
I am gonna go ahead and sit down and reconnect with the fire. Um, because it brings the skeletons back, but like the soul stays with me, right? Like that
That's right.
is okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
So as you sit down, you feel all your wounds heal, your fatigue lifts, and you're refreshed and revitalized.
awesome. Brian just asked, inspired by Dark Souls. Yeah. So Runecairn is a Souls-like game that came out before everyone was trying to do a Souls game, and so far it's been super fun. And so, yeah, so I'll reconnect, respawn. I'm gonna hold on to the soul for right now, though we'll probably make use of it at some point. And when I go back into the room, and so then I'm remove fatigue. My resilience goes back up.
That's right. It goes
Does,
back up to
does my
full.
strength go back up?
It does. Yeah.
Okay. The and then I'm going to this time just kind of skirt around the edge of the room and leave the skeletons in the middle.
Yeah. So when you stand back up from the bonfire, the skeletons are exactly as they were when you first saw them. So
Okay.
back in the same position. So one in the pond, and one kind of crumpled around the floor. But yeah,
I
you can evade them.
just another weird question. Since I have the
Yeah.
spear from the one of them, does it still have a spear? Or does it not?
It does. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. Infinite spheres.
Yeah. It's one of those questions that is obvious to ask and that I've never thought of. So excellent.
Yeah, but I'm going to skirt around the edge of the cave.
Okay.
I love that Trash just popped in and said, I feel this stream could best be served with a death encounter. Thanks. I'm sure I will at some point in time. I was very close this last time. We all look forward to it.
Okay, so the path leads up to the north. Okay, so the irregular rocky ground slants upward, and the corridor curves, revealing a long, flat tunnel. You see a handful of broken arrows that litter the ground at a bend in the cave. At the far end of the cave, you see a ragged bowman holding a bow with a nocked arrow. There's a cramped alcove halfway along the tunnel, and then past the bowman, you see a rising path at the end of the corridor.
Okay. I should have taken the infinite spears hack, so I had enough to throw this guy. Should have spammed spears for a while. So where the arrows hit, there's just arrows, but they're all kind of in a particular spot.
Yeah, yeah,
and it's just a long corridor path up to where the ragged bowman is.
yeah. So halfway up the path, there's a an alcove. So that gives there's a straight corridor, but then you could duck into an alcove on the way up to the bowman.
Cool. I think I'm gonna. And it doesn't seem like it's noticed me yet.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't quite noticed you yet. It's dressed in tattered clothing, so it looks similar to the first two forms, the first two figures that you saw, but this one looks a bit more with it, like a bit more attentive.
Cool.
And you can see like dim aggression in its eyes.
Cool. I'm gonna try to, before it notices me, make my way to that alcove.
Okay. How are you moving along the cave? Like, do you want to go kind of slow and stealthy, or are you going to make a run for the alcove?
I don't think it's a full-on run.
Okay.
I think it's my attempt at as fast as I can go without making extra noise. So it is
Okay.
not slow and stealthy. It's the least effective, most middle ground way you could possibly answer the question you just asked me, of a mix
Absolutely.
of speed and stealth, but probably leaning slightly more towards speed than stealth.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You managed to make it into the alcove without the bowman spotting you. And in the alcove, resting against the rear wall is another wolfskin wrap. Cracks crisscross the stone wall behind the wrap.
Interesting. I'm going to open up the wrap.
Okay. So removing the wolfskin causes a loose stone to clatter to the ground. The wrap, inside the wrap are your remaining items. So your runic focus, your sacrificial bundle, your sacred waters, everything.
Excellent. I got to decide whether this wolfskin wrap look better than or worse than the wolfskin wrap I have with me.
It's a bit more intact. The other one looks a bit older and dustier. This one's a bit fresher.
Okay, we're gonna swap out. We'll swap out that the wolf wrap.
All right. So retrieving your items results in another flood of memories of your previous life. So you also now remember what you seek, like what your goal is in this new world. So what do you think Ausa's goal is?
Oh, in this new world, up until this point, it was survive and get my stuff back. Trash just typed something in chat that is also very good. I want to become the premier purveyor of wolfskin wraps in the 9 worlds.
Excellent. Well, you're on your way there. You've got one nice one and one kind of B grade wolfskin wrap.
Yeah, I can say like this is what you get at competitors, but this is what I have to offer.
I like the company so much, or I like the product so much. I bought the company.
That's right. And so, so yeah, uh, that is my new focus is to bring wolfskin commerce to the Nine Realms.
Excellent.
Do with the stone kind of crumbling down, do I sense a stirring from the archer?
No, it doesn't look like he's noticed it. The stone kind of like, it looks like the wolf skin was holding the stone in place, like it had broken, or there's some kind of like looseness in the stone wall, and when you took it away, the a loose stone fell off, and the cracks widened a bit more.
Can I fiddle with the cracks?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna mess with the cracks.
So you there we go. So you kind of push the cracks aside. You can see that it's uh the cracked stone wall leads to a hidden alcove. So the broken stones clatter as you enter the chamber. The ceiling is low and the air old and stale. Sitting on the stone floor in front of you is a battered wooden chest. So the chest is an oak weathered chest. It's covered in two large gouges and banded in rusted iron.
I would like to take the spear and try to push the lid of the chest back.
Okay. Yeah, you can do it with no issues. It's not locked or anything. So you push open up the chest lid. Opens up, and there's an armband inside that's glowing slightly, and you can feel a bit of warmth coming from it. So this is your first piece of treasure. This is a relic. Holding the armband, you're flooded with a sense of its history and what it does. So it's an armband of the Filgia. So there are it's a hammered bronze armband etched with animal likenesses. And you know that if you use it, you can summon an animal spirit that will lead you to fate or fortune. Ooh. And there's 3 charges with it.
Okay. Is it going to take up a slot in my inventory?
Yeah.
I am I am going to take it, put on the armband. I'll I poke my head back out into the thing. Can I throw the spear?
Yeah, you can absolutely throw it. You got a range of about 30 or 40 feet with it, so cool. you could hit the bowman with it.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna come out quickly, and I'm gonna move probably 10 feet closer, throw the spear, and then after that I'm gonna keep on moving. But we can resolve the spear throw first.
So do you want to distract him, or are you looking to attack him and then move past him, or
I think I'm looking to attack him at this point in time.
Okay. Right. So the bowman was looking the other way as you pop out and throw the spear. So it catches him in the throat. Actually, if you give me a dex save to see how well you throw the spear.
I rolled a 9 under my 10.
Okay, so your aim was true, went right through his throat, and it killed him. One strike dead.
Awesome. I just was going to keep on moving anyways because I did not expect for it to be that successful. And now I feel like I'm going to regret killing this guy. Just emotionally later on. As I make my way forward, was it ramping up towards him? Was it okay? So I'm just going to make kind of my way up towards his his body now.
Okay.
Or their body.
Yep. Okay, so you can from where you are now, you can smell a fresh breeze that blows from the southeast as the tunnel curves around. The bowman is dead at your feet. He's got um, um, a stash of poor arrows and a low quality bow. He's dressed in like tattered clothing. So yeah, so you've got the southeast pass ahead of you, or the path where you came from.
The path where I came from, if I go back, is caved in, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
The does the spear I have and the bow and arrows appear to be of equally crappy starting level category weapons?
Yeah, the spear looks to be slightly better than the bow and arrows.
Okay, then I'm gonna just hold on to the spear. Then I think it kind of this. You said this guy looks like the folks I originally passed who were just kind of hitting the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see like you're up close with him now, and you can see like same thing. Skin is drawn, um, pale. Doesn't look quite alive.
Okay. Did blood come out when I hit him?
Dried, kind of crusted, dried blood came out.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'm gonna just make my way further down along the passage.
Okay. All right. The cramped path opens to reveal a lush grotto exposed to the sky. Radiant beams of sunlight bathe the cavern in golden glow. A sprawling tree flourishes at the center, brilliant red apples dotted amongst the green. A hooded woman tends to the tree, holding a wooden basket. There's a fresh breeze that caresses your exposed skin. The smell of apple and honey fills the senses. The vast apple tree reaches up to the clear blue sky. The hooded woman harvests apples from the tree, placing them into her basket. And daylight returns to shadow in a southern passage past the tree.
Okay. As I smell the smell of apples and fresh breeze, is that all I smell as I take a deeper whiff? Like, does it? Everything here seems to be fresh and verdant and alive. There's no hint of anything else that necessarily comes up when I breathe more deeply.
No, the even the murky pool, like the scent from the murky pool, is gone. The stench of the bowman is gone as well. You can still smell the dampness of the cave a little bit, but the apple and like green smell just permeates everything.
Then I'm gonna call out to this woman as I start to slowly make my way down.
She kind of like stands up. She's a bit stooped over. She's got her basket of apples. She turns to face you.
Yes? Who's there? Who are you?
I am just a traveler. How do you come to find yourself here?
I tend the apples. I always have.
Do you live here?
Yes. I tend to her apples, and I make sure that they stay fresh.
This seems like such a dangerous spot for you to be.
Yes. Well, I need to tend to these apples for the travelers who arrive, such as yourself.
Oh, is it just food for the journey?
Well, she provides all you need, the sustenance. The apples will rejuvenate you. They will give you life.
Can I have one?
Yes.
She reaches down and pulls out like a leather belt, and there's a mead flask connected to the leather belt. Like it's essentially a belt that you strap on, and it's got a mead flask.
Take this. It will help you in your journey. These are Ethun's apples, and it is her mead that's in this flask.
I will take it gratefully. And just ask her if while I'm here I can interest her in a wolf wrap.
Ah, I see you found the wolf skin. Oh, that one's very nice.
Yeah, this is our prime model.
Oh, it does get drafty in this cave. Open to the sky and all.
I'd be happy to trade you for as a thank you for this wonderful flagon of mead.
Well, I would like that. Thank you.
I'll give her my prime wolf wrap. Is what do you know of the tunnels ahead?
There's danger ahead. You have seen the danger. I see. You've escaped it.
Some of it. Flashback to skeleton stabbing me. The what the sightless ones who are in these tunnels, what do you know about them?
Yes, they're shades. They're hollow. They have lost the will to live. They are lost to the darkness.
Is there any way that they can be saved?
No, they are truly lost. Make sure you don't end up like them. Don't lose yourself.
I'll thank her and make my way towards the other side.
You must defeat the demon to leave.
She calls after you as you kind of walk off.
Thank you.
You as you turn to say that, you see that the tree is gone, the woman is gone, and the cave is just left with beams of sunlight and the scent of apples.
Yeah, Merkin here. We are playing the Beneath the Broken Sword adventure. I have not played it or read it yet, but that is the one we're playing. Yeah, I'll make my way into the tunnel.
So what she's given you is a mead flask. So you can use that to heal yourself and to clear fatigue. So you've got 2 sips of mead in the flask, and it refills every time you sit at a bonfire.
Okay.
So when you drink it, it'll heal 10 resilience points, up to 10 resilience points, and clear 2 points of fatigue from your inventory.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So you continue down the southern passage?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's heavily shadowed, and there's a path leading up over jagged stone. So the rocky terrain forms a crude natural staircase, obscured in heavy shadow. The path climbs further up, leading to a shallow arch. You hear a soft whistling sound coming from somewhere far under the stone. There's a crumpled form in the heap. There's a crumpled form in a heap at the peak of the arch. And there's a smooth incline at the end of the tunnel. There are broken and shattered bones at the base of the incline. So essentially, an incline leads up like this, and there's broken bones at the bottom of it.
Okay. And it leads up to the arch, or the arch precedes it?
Yeah, so the incline leads up to the arch.
There are broken bones at the bottom of it. And are there walls on either side of it, or is it going up into the air?
Yeah, so there's walls on either side.
Okay. I would like to summon an animal spirit to lead me to fortune or fate.
Okay, so you use one of the charges on your armband, and you see an ethereal fox appear on the ground in front of you. It scampers and scurries and kind of looks up at you, and like cocks its head quizzically, and it, as if it senses what you've asked of it. It looks up ahead and looks at the bones, looks up at the arch, and it kind of cowers, as if to say, there's danger ahead. You should be careful. Be wary.
I already knew that. I wanted to see what happened when you ran up. I'll pet it on the head. Did I use a fatigue when I did that, or is that just use a charge?
No, it using relics doesn't cost a fatigue. As it senses that you're proceeding up the arch or up the incline, you can see it kind of edge to the side of the incline.
I was going to stop at the bottom and look at the bones.
Cool. So they're broken and shattered bones. They're crushed to powder from some massive object, scattered and strewn down the path.
Okay. And I can see a heap at the top. There's a form in the heap at the top, or a form in a heap at the top. And how far is it to the top?
It's about 20 or 30 feet.
And how far apart are the walls?
They're about 10 feet.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, 5 feet. So the tunnel's about 5 feet wide.
And how tall up is how tall up does it go?
It looks like it increases the higher it goes, but it looks about 5 feet. Well, no, sorry, it'll be about 10 feet tall at the base, and then it kind of increases.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna start slowly making my way up. I'm using the spear kind of like a walking stick in front of me, though, like putting it in the ground or to the ground if it's stone, taking a step, and just kind of slowly making my way up that way.
Okay, the fox goes ahead of you as well, and it's like crouched down, as if it senses your intent, and it kind of crawls next to you, or like crawls behind you, kind of go up. So you make your way up slowly but surely up the incline. You're a bit closer. You can see the crumpled form. It looks like one of the figures that you've seen before.
Okay.
In the cave, wearing tattered clothing. It looks lifeless and it's curled up around a spear.
Okay. How far away am I right now?
You're about 10 feet away from it.
I think I've now decided, okay, if these things are just shades of previous people, then helping them depart this realm is probably better than not. And I'm going to thrust at this thing.
Okay. Yeah, you're far enough away that you can safely hit it. It does damage to it, so it doesn't kill it outright. It's if you roll your d6 for damage.
That's a 6.
6. Okay. All right. The spear hits it in the chest, and it kind of staggers up. It was only feigning death. This one looks like the bowman. It's more with it, more aggressive. Yeah. You can also see past it. you can see past the arch. There's another of these shades standing there, standing behind a massive boulder that they're getting ready to push down the incline towards both you and the shade.
Cool.
So you've got a chance to act before the boulder is pushed.
Yeah. I want to. How big is the boulder? Like from my quick look.
It fills the it almost fills the corridor. So there's a
that's fine. But that essentially also means that it is round, correct?
Yeah.
So that's about 5 feet by 5 feet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Then I just want to. So as I pull the spear back, I want to use it to kind of pole vault up and push out against the walls to let this thing just go underneath me.
Excellent. Okay, I think that's going to need a dex save.
That does sound like a dex save. What am I doing? No, that's an 18. That did not work.
All right, so you almost managed to clear it, but not quite. The boulder clips you, and you take 4 damage.
Okay.
Because you were kind of in mid-flight, your armor didn't really catch didn't really protect against that.
That's fine.
Right, so the boulder has clipped you, but it's crushed the shade that you'd previously damaged, and so it kind of just grinds that to dust and then rolls on down the corridor back where you were. So there's an additional shade who's the one who's just pushed the boulder. Cool. He's standing in front of you holding his spear, and he approaches menacingly.
I'm gonna thrust at this one also.
Okay. Roll your damage.
It's another 6.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So you get a your strike is true, and it pierces his chest, sputters and coughs, and then he collapses to the ground. He failed his critical damage save and died.
Okay.
All right.
How's the fox doing? Did it survive well?
Yeah, the fox is incorporeal, so it's fine. It's hopping around. It's still with you.
Good. I'm glad. I'll look at both of their bodies just to kind of make sure that they're fully departed and stuff, and then continue to move down the corridor.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, both of them are. The one is crushed and the other one is speared. So both are no longer in this world. Okay. So you continue down the corridor. You reach a flat, broad room littered with piles of broken and smashed bones, shattered weaponry, and crushed armor. Massive cracks litter the stone ground and jagged walls, as if smashed by something immense. You can hear crashing echoes of something huge moving around nearby. The ground has been compacted, covering in a dense layer of fine dust. On the western side, the ground leads to an overhanging rocky ledge, and you can see a heavy iron key hanging from a hook on the southern wall.
So I've got ground in front of me that's covered in smashed armor and bones and a fine layer of dust and compacted. I've got an iron key hanging across the room. Mm-hmm. Something heavy moving around nearby that I can't see.
Yeah.
What else did I miss?
There's a ledge as well.
Okay. And is that ledge like it's on the far side of the room, or is it moving around the edge of the room?
It's on the eastern side of the room. The western side from where you've come from. You can see that the ledge it overlooks a large chamber.
Okay.
And it's a chamber that you recognize because you've
I'm on top of
just
the
passed
ledge
through there.
that am I on top of the ledge that I was in I saw from below before.
Absolutely. The crashing sound that you hear is the demon pacing on the ground beneath you.
Excellent. I feel pretty confident. Then I make my way out across the room. I kind of probe the ground, I think, a little bit with my spear first, just to make sure none of it's weird. Yeah, I make my way kind of over to the ledge, to look down on the demon down below. Real quick, Eric Babin says, "Dope shirt, Colin. Any chance they're on sale somewhere?"
They are actually. You can get them from my shop, which is shop.byodensbeardrpg.com. There's still some sizes left. There's also my logo, which is the bearded Odin. I've got shirts with that logo on it too.
We're a huge fan of beard brands, so I'll drop that in the chat so people can get a direct link there. I guess it's only going to be on Twitch. Go to search Bioden's Beard RPG. It'll pop up.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to easily post things across platforms. It's the severe limitation of multi-platform streaming. Yeah, so I kind of look down below at this demon, and is it aware of me?
So as you kind of cross the ground, the stone's just been like trampled from what would you assume the demon moving back and forth before jumping down. It hasn't clocked you yet. It's kind of pacing erratically on the ground below.
Cool. And the iron key, is that out across the ledge, or was that somewhere up here?
Yeah, so the iron key is hanging on. So where you came in, it's hanging on the opposite wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get the iron key.
Okay.
And then after I've retrieved the iron key, I go over, I look down. Is it pacing in kind of a intentional pattern?
Doesn't look like it. It's just kind of moving back and forth. Massive club slung over its shoulder, just kind of like looking around. It does look like it's looking for something or someone.
Cool. I would like to take one of the precarious stalactites that are on the ceiling of this room that you described earlier and try to make it fall, one of those fall on this thing.
Okay, excellent. So how do you? So you've got a spear. You've got your lightning spear.
Yeah, but how far away are they? I guess now that I'm on the ledge, how far are they?
So they're quite a ways up. They're probably 30 or 40 feet above the ground, like where the demon's walking. But they're only about 10 or 20 feet away from you. So and you're probably about 20 feet away from the stalactites.
Okay. My first attempt, this is not the best idea. It is the most conservative of my resources, though. Can I pick up a piece of armor and like frisbee it at one of these things?
Yeah. There's smashed armor everywhere, so you could absolutely do that.
I'm gonna pick up a smashed helmet, and try to frisbee it at one of the stalactites and drop it on the guy below me.
Okay. Give me a dex save to see if your aim is good enough for that.
8, which does come in below my dex.
All right. Yeah. So you wing the helmet at the stalactite. It hits one of them, kind of crumbles, like it shakes from the shock, and slowly starts to kind of drift and shift, and then you can see part of the cave ceiling snap and crumble, and then the stalactite falls onto the demon, and it knows you're up there now. But it's also
that could have just happened.
And it kind of strikes it on the back, and you see it take a significant hit. The stone demon looks up at you, and you can see it crouch down for a moment, and then it leaps up into the air, holding its stone club up high as it jumps back up onto the ledge.
I have a question, and if
Yes.
not, that's okay. Can I use my mystic shield to keep it from getting back up on the ledge? Can I make it bounce off my mystic shield as it tries to jump up?
Yeah, so you can use your shout ability
Yeah.
to deflect that attack and kind of knock him back. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I want to use my shout ability to block him from jumping back up. What do I need to do for that?
Give me a spirit save, please.
Okay. That is a 2.
Excellent. So you chant, like holding your runic focus and channeling the power of the gods as they speak through you. You unleash a furious shout of pure magical energy, and it pushes the stone demon back mid strike. It falls back and lands on one of the stalagmites, and you can see it break through the stone surface. It's injured, but it's not dead.
I would love to use my lightning spear now. It takes a fatigue to use my shout, correct?
It does, yeah.
Okay. I would love to use my lightning spear and throw my lightning spear at it.
All right. Let me get the specs for that. So you don't have to roll to hit. This is an automatic hit with it. Magic ignores all armor as well. You take fatigue for using it, but roll a d8 for your damage to see how much damage it takes.
Oh, that's 7 damage.
7 damage, excellent. So the damage that you've done with the stalactite and the stalagmite has chipped away its armor, so it's not nearly as armored or as tough as it could be. So that was 7 damage, you said. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see it stand up and push itself off of the stalactite, and it rights itself again, picks up the stone club again, looks up at you, crouches, and leaps again.
I would love to shout again.
All right, give me a spirit save again.
Let's see. That is not successful this time.
Okay, so you can't quite muster the same power as before. The sight of the titanic stone demon flying at you breaks your courage slightly.
Been known to happen.
You can see the demon shrug off the magical shout.
And I spend fatigue no matter what, correct?
Yeah, that's right. All right, and it strikes you, the club. So you absorb 2 points of the damage, but you take 3 points of damage for that one.
Remind me what the mead horn does again?
The mead horn, when you drink it, it restores 10 resilience points and clears 2 fatigue.
And that is my action for the turn, correct?
Okay. So you're gonna.
No, I'm saying that I'm just clarifying. That is what I do that turn if I do that, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
gonna
go ahead and do that.
You can also, so if you wanted to drink and then move, you can do that too.
I will drink and move away. Move. How far down the ledge is it?
So it's onto the ledge where you are now.
I mean, how far down? But how far down? But like, how high up was the ledge from the room below?
It was about 30 feet.
So not a small drop.
Yeah. Cool. You could potentially do it if you had enough time to kind of prepare. You could do it without.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, but that is what I'm going to do still, nevertheless.
Okay. Yeah. So it heals you for I think it brings you back up to full. Yeah. Yep. And you clear 2 fatigue.
Cool.
All right. The stone demon approaches, follows you to where you ran, raises his club again. Actually raises it with both arms and it looks like it's gonna bring it down and slam it on the ground. So it's a slightly different attack.
It's not aiming at me.
It is, but it looks like it's a more impactful attack.
Okay, I'm going to try to dodge away from it.
Okay.
And whatever booming out impact radius. I'm trying to get out of the hitbox, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, give me a dex save to see if you can dodge out of the way.
Succeed.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, you roll out of the way. You see it smash into the ground and like radiates impact from where it struck. You can feel the ground shake as it hit. You think that would have hurt quite badly if it had hit you. All right.
And I am going to use my lightning spear again.
Okay. Give me a D8, please, to see what kind of damage you do.
That is 5.
5 damage. Okay. Right. So you've reduced it to 0 resilience. So now it's going to attempt a critical damage save, which it fails. So the lightning spear channeled through your runic focus, channeling the power of Thor through the lightning, strikes the stone demon in the chest, and you can see it char instantly as it hits, and then crumbles and shatters, falls to pieces, and it drops the other key that it had around its neck. It hits the stone with a metallic clink.
Cool. I go and pick up the key.
All right. You
and
also
go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. You also gain 1 soul for defeating the stone demon.
I was gonna check its inventory to see if I needed.
Yeah. So the unlike the soul remnant that you picked up before, this is a soul that you've absorbed into your body.
Oh.
So you can. It's one that you could spend at a bonfire, and if you don't spend it, then the next time you die, you would lose that soul,
Okay.
or like you would exit your body, and you'd have to retrieve it.
Well, hopefully there's a bonfire on the other side of those doors. So it's flattened all above me. There's the 30-foot drop down below. I am gonna I'm on a speed run here. I'm gonna drop down. I think like I'll hang, and that's like I do the smart thing where I hang over the edge, prepare myself, drop, and squat, so it's only 25 feet or whatever instead of 30.
Yeah, absolutely. You do it. You can do it with enough care that you don't take any damage dropping down. So now you're in the or you're in the chamber again. So the doors in front of you, there are 2 stone doors in front of you, and there's 2 stone doors behind you. That's where you came from,
Right.
And that's where the first bonfire was that you sat at.
I'm gonna go ahead and open these 2 doors. The way you said that made me immediately want to go back and sit by that bonfire. I'm gonna go ahead and stick both keys in, and try to open these 2 doors.
Okay. Yeah. So both keys. There are 2 massive keyholes in the stone doors. Both slide in with a satisfying clunk and turn, and then the doors open.
Awesome. American, my character's name is Alsa, and so what happens when I open the doors?
All right, so you feel violent, piercing wind that shrieks through the narrow stone channel, cold tearing at your skin and chilling your breath. Ice gathers on the stone walls, and the path is perilous. The wind carries a foul stench and drowns out most sound. There's a frozen stream that crosses the ground, water running from deeper inside the cave. Mist and fog gathers near the end, obscuring the path.
I don't see any bonfires.
No. Just as a reminder, or as a refresher, when you defeat stronger enemies, those don't respawn when you sit at a bonfire.
Oh, that's fine. But I got a soul inside me now, so now I care too. Also, so that was not weighing it's heavy on my mind as otherwise, because I've got the keys at this point in time also too.
Yeah.
So, I am gonna go back to the first bonfire. I will on the way there just again try to I'll make some noise and quickly move by the other two shades on the way back to the bonfire.
Yeah, they still pay no attention to you, so you can dodge around them easily enough and reach the first bonfire.
Yeah.
Do you sit down at the bonfire?
Yeah, I look deeply into the flames.
Okay, so you can feel your yourself rejuvenate. You can feel your connection to the bonfire and to the other bonfires that the other bonfire that you sat at. You feel a resonance to the rest of the 9 realms, and so you're fully healed and your fatigue is gone.
Okay.
You can also, if you choose to, you can spend the soul that you've got on increasing an ability score or your vitality.
Okay. And does vitality have a cap? Like, so does vitality 6 the highest you can go, or does it?
No, so you can keep going higher.
Yeah. And vitality essentially just is the way that I'm essentially boosting my resilience over time.
Yeah.
Also, because is vigor a fixed rate?
Yeah, so vigor, you can't go over your max vigor.
Okay.
But vitality you can increase your max vitality.
Cool. Let's I'm gonna just go ahead and make strength
Cool.
normal, I think. So we'll go ahead and spin that soul. And then when I'm done, we'll come back, go back through, skirt around the guys, and head out those 2 doors.
Okay, cool. All right. So you go back through the doors. It takes you to the channel that's, or the corridor that's just blowing cold, ice and cold. There is a
I
path.
wrap my wolf skin wrap closely around my body.
Yeah, you've never needed it more than right now. So the path is obscured with mist and fog, but you can see daylight just visible through the distance. So
Awesome.
do you want to keep going?
Yes.
Okay, pushing through the fog, you find a plateau exposed to the sky. An enormous raven is perched on a broad ash stump, black eyes staring. Between you and the raven is a dead thing, clad in broken and rusted armor, wielding a bearded axe, eyes glowing with red malevolence. There's a stinging wind that's even stronger here, lashing exposed skin and carrying a putrid stench. The death blue dead warrior waits, red eyes scanning, and the enormous raven shuffles on its perch, watching you. So the dead warrior is approaching you with its axe held high.
I think I yell stop at it, but I am trying to use shout.
Okay.
But I think this is also my character's attempt to try to figure out, is this thing actually attacking me or is this something else?
Okay. So do you want to actually use your shout?
I do want to use my shout ability.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure, so I am defending myself, but in the most like what's going on here capacity that I can.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's successful.
Cool. So yeah, your shout staggers back the figure. It lowers its axe and it looks at you. You can see hatred in its eyes. What are you doing here?
Passing through, if you'll let me.
None shall pass. You are dead. You belong here. with the dead.
I look at him in the eyes, and then I use my lightning spear.
All right.
I tried the thing. The you belong here with the dead seems not as helpful, and so yeah.
All right. Roll your damage. Show a D8.
That's 4.
4 damage. Okay. So you can see the dead thing is wearing armor. It looks broken and rusted. So, but it does still offer some protection. But the lightning spear obviously just bypasses that and does damage to it directly. It approaches. As it gets closer, the stench that it exudes threatens to overwhelm you. Can you give me a strength save, please?
Good thing I just upped my strength. That's a 1. That's a 1.
A 1. Okay, that's an automatic success. So you managed to choke back the vomit that was rising in your throat just because of the stench of this dead thing. You are now immune to to that ability. Right. What would you like to do now?
I'm going to use my sword.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to sunder his armor also too when I do it.
Excellent. Okay. Just let me check that here. Remember my own rules. Okay, cool. So the sword itself, when you sunder, it does damage, but it also reduces his armor.
Right.
So if you can roll a d4 for the damage, please.
So it's lower damage but reduces armor.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a 3.
3. Okay. So you can see the sharp blade of the sharp steel of the sword cuts through the remainder of his armor, and it just falls to pieces. So he is now unarmored. And it was a blow that sliced through his chest. You can see it just open up, and he's just dead. Like there's no blood because he's been dead for so long. But he approaches. He raises his axe as if to strike. So, what would you like to do?
First, I'd like to thank the Saxman for the sub. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then next, I would like to throw my my vial of sacred waters into his open chest wound.
Excellent. So that is a D10 of damage against undead.
Yeah.
So if you can roll a D10 for me.
It's an 8.
8. Excellent. Okay. So you throw the sacred waters against its exposed chest that's been opened by your sword. It shatters, and you can see it immediately start to eat away at the dead flesh, and it sizzles and burns, and the dead thing shrieks, and the howl echoes around the elevated plateau. It failed its critical death save or critical damage save, so it is dead. It collapses into nothing on the ground. Its bearded axe clatters to the ground.
Cool.
So you have defeated it.
I look at the raven. Expectantly, I think.
Okay. So the raven looks at you, kind of settles itself, and then it bows its head and lowers its body to you. It beckons to the sky, as if to say, "Are you ready?"
Yeah, I am ready. Yes, I'm ready.
All right. The raven crouches and springs up off the tree stump, taking to the air with a gust from its wings. Circling around, it hovers for a moment before grasping you firmly in its wicked talons. You fly off into the unknown sky, onward into the new world below. So that's you completed the adventure.
Yay! I did it. I'm sorry, Trash. I didn't die horribly at any point in time. I did
You
come
got close,
incredibly
though.
close. If it makes you feel better. That's what years of playing OSR games will get you. So awesome. I had a blast. We're gonna do our reaction roll. Reaction roll is a live stream inside of a live stream. It's our chance to sit down with the creator of a game we just played and talk about what it was like to play that game today. We're sitting down with Colin Le Sueur to talk about Runecairn, which you can get the new hardback Runecairn Wardensaga version live from our friends over at Exalted Funeral. I don't know why I said live. I guess in stock from our friends over at Exalted Funeral. We're also gonna give away a copy of it in just a minute. If you have not yet and you're watching on Twitch, hit follow, type an exclamation point key item, which is the items of power in the game, in case you're wondering, to unlock all the goodies that it has in store. We'll pick a winner in just one moment. But Colin, for people who joined us late, maybe 43 minutes late, who are watching this later, tell us a little bit about Runecairn and what it is and what inspired you to make it.
So it all started with me wanting to make a Dark Souls TTRPG. So I was trying different item or different systems. I looked at D&D 5e to start because that's what I'd had previous experience making adventures in, but it didn't fit. So I wanted to find something a bit more streamlined with a bit reactive combat, with a bit more of an edge to it. So I found that in Cairn, which is a kind of a descendant of Into the Odd and Knave, and it fits perfectly with Cairn, I think. So I took that as a base, and then changed some features of it, added some reactions and some weapon abilities. But yeah, I think it works fairly well for a Souls-like.
Awesome. No, it was a blast. I definitely felt the sweat early on because it's one of those things where I was like, I'm not going to fight the first boss because in a Souls-like game, that thing's going to kill me. And I love one of the things I loved about it was it very much like a Souls-like game. There was no real need for you as the adventure designer to say, oh, here's exactly where I've got to put the strong bosses or the weak bosses or think about any of that stuff. You put them where you want and you let the players explore around and decide when they want to challenge things or not. And that was that feel was very, very cool and very, very present. And also I almost got killed by a skeleton, which is probably one of the weakest things in the adventure. And then also very quickly dispatched the demon knight without taking any damage. Once I had learned how to operate the system a little bit better and had all my stuff back, it was a very good vibe, super fun. I do wish I had died a little bit, but I would have just popped back up at a campfire and had to keep on going. And so, I super enjoyed it, and we're tremendously excited. If you're watching right now or watching later and you have questions, drop them down in the chat below. This is a great chance to ask Colin about inspiration, other things like that. What, as you were getting ready to do the advanced version, because now you had the initial books that you put out, which you were kind enough to send me a copy of a while ago, and arrived with tremendously beautiful packaging. Now you've partnered with Exalted to do this hardcover version, take a lot of the extended stuff, combine it into one. What are some of the things that you kind of have learned along the way as you've been designing, refining, and expanding the game?
I think one thing that I've learned the most on is layout, because the core rules for Runecairn had a slightly different layout, and so that gave me a chance when I did Wardensaga to redo it and to kind of streamline it and to tighten it up a bit more and fix all the mistakes that I'd made initially. But also seeing how people play it, seeing what elements of rules weren't as clear as they could be, or where there was a bit of wiggle room or room for interpretation. Not to say this is rules as written, so you have to follow this exactly, but just to address people's questions about it. And I think that was really useful to have essentially a second edition or an enhanced collected edition.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed a couple of different pieces that you included within that like even right now, like we're getting ready to put Down We Go's print version out, and we got to the end and we're starting to enter into the conversations about like what is the philosophy of play and what is the culture of play that we're trying to engender in this. And even from the get-go, like your opening overview, which I've popped up so people can see it, which is very crisp, very clear, like fiction first, player choice, like what types of adventures are you having, like kind of just giving a sense of this is the type of game this is, very quickly and tightly on one page. But the principles is something that I'll include principles of play a lot in my games because I think they're tremendously important. But the warden principles and the player principles, I think, are really, really well articulated and incredibly helpful for people to know, like, here's what you're doing. And it also, even like there were times where I was like, look, this scene, like when we got to the scene with the woman by the tree, like I was like, okay, this seems 100% face value, like what it is. And I also know like that the warden is going to be communicating clearly with me. So I only asked the follow-up question just because I was like, I want to make sure I'm not missing something. Like, because I know if I ask, like, I smell deeper, I smell again, if there's something hidden here, then the warden's going to be like, and a little bit of like a tinge of rot down below, maybe, right? But you were very clear in just a description of no, like you have entered into a different and safe type of space, which then lets me go, great, because like the warden principles clearly lay out, here's kind of how you do some of these different pieces. And I thought they were tremendously well written, as well as the player principles for somebody who truly has never played a Souls-like game before, or anything in the Souls anthology. I've just watched my teenage children play it and made fun of them the entire time. I thought it was really good at knowing, like, here's how you can approach this. And as somebody who loves both story games and OSR games, like I love OSR in my way through anything. So like I'll move slowly, I'll take my time, I'll grab wolf skins and throw them over skeletons' heads, I'll do that kind of stuff. It's one of the reasons that like they're always like, why do you like RPGs more than video games? I was like, because I can throw the wolf skin over the skeleton's head, like because that's a choice I can make in an RPG that I can't necessarily make. But I think the player principles piece, in addition to the design of the game, is a piece that a lot of games that lean into OSR mentalities are oftentimes missing. They kind of depend on people knowing exactly what to do. And I just think they were a tremendous piece in the game. Totally.
Yeah, a lot of that comes from, like, the principles come from Cairn, like from Yohai Gal's Cairn,
Yeah.
and like he's kind of spearheading the NSR movement now, which is what I find really interesting, like New School Renaissance or New School Revolution, where it takes the principles of the OSR and tweaks them and makes them a bit more accessible and a bit more inclusive, and his principles that were in Cairn is what I used and adapted for Runecairn.
Cairn is one of my favorite late OSR NSR games that exist. I love I always love the title wars, but I also think that what Yokai is articulating is distinctive, and is just really great stuff. Like it's one of the reasons anytime Karen stuff comes up, or anytime their work comes up, I'm always super happy to share it, because I love the thoughtful nature. And the Cauldron and the Discords for the NSR communities are great places to go and know, like, hey, here's a community of people kind of bought in on similar principles. And so I love it. But yeah, the couple questions in the chat from over on YouTube. Merkin here wants to know, how long from concept to finished project did it take you to write/create Runecairn?
So it went through a couple of revisions. Like the first core rules was probably about 3 to 6 months from like concept to play testing to layout. So yeah, and then did the starting adventure and then the advanced rules. So the whole thing was probably about a year to 18 months of to get from 0 to Wardensaga. So yeah, it's been a big chunk.
And then their follow-up question was, are you playing more OSR/NSR/school stuff now more than 5e is specifically what they're meaning. I think a fun question is like, what are you playing a lot of right now? Like, what do you really enjoy playing with?
So I used to play in a Pathfinder game every month or so. That was an ongoing one, but that's been on hold for a while. So I'm not playing in anything at the moment. But I do want to start playing a lot more, especially like on stream and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But what I'm focused on now is more NSR OSR stuff. So like We Deal in Lead, which is my next project. I'm really excited about that. That's
yeah. Tell us a little bit more about it, because it is a cool project, and it's now you hit your first funding goal. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you've gotten any further through it.
Yeah, so we're almost at the final funding goal now, which is amazing. So it's a Dark Tower inspired dark fantasy Western TTRPG. So it's based on Cairn, like more closely to Cairn than Runecairn is, because it's meant to be interoperable with other Cairn adventures and Cairn settings. So the concept is that you're a group of gunslingers in a broken world, and you have to navigate and travel this world that's a mix of Wild West fantasy and lost ancient technology, and travel through these hidden slip doors into other worlds. So you could travel into the world of Runecairn, for instance, or the world of Darkness Moves from Perplexing Ruins, other OSR or Cairn-based systems, or Into the Odd-based systems. So the world is it's massively open. You can travel from one realm to another.
Awesome. Merkin got a lot of questions. How did you manage to get my order from the UK to East Tennessee in the US faster than I can get domestic packages emails? I'll answer that. Almost every other system, depending on where you order from, it's way quicker to order from the UK to the US than it is to order from the US to the UK. Weeks versus days, in all honesty. It's absolutely insane. But even US based stuff, the shipping has been a nightmare even in US for the last little bit. Unless people are sending priority mail, it will oftentimes take days longer than it historically did for things to arrive, just because of the way the mail system is right now. There's, but or British magic, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, it's been super exciting to see how We Deal in Lead has been received. It was super exciting to be like talking about it a couple of weeks ago on stream for Funeral Party with your future ghost. You already knew how else is going to turn out, and have it being about to happen, and then now being like a couple of weeks later, like looking how far it's actually come. A lot of people would love to have that kind of response just to Kickstarter, and so to see that on itch funding is tremendous. And so
it's blown me away. It's really, really impressive.
How has the itch funding process been for you, like as far as figuring it out and getting into it? Why did you make that choice? And then talk a little bit about what the process has been like for you.
So I followed a couple of guides on itch funding. Goblin Archives put one together that's really useful. That was the main one I looked at. I looked at some existing itch fund campaigns, and I wanted to, because I'd done a Kickstarter last year for a 5e supplement, which is how I first came to know of you, Tony, because you featured it on one of your Zine Quest shows. So I had experience with Kickstarter, and I wanted to try something different, and wanted to not have that pressure of the 30 days or the 14 days for Kickstarter. Just wanted to do it at my own pace, and I wanted to be able to commission some art and to commission an editor, so that it could be as good as it could be. So I think itch funding was the way to go for it, and the response has been amazing. It's really blown me away.
Yeah, no, it's I love itch funding. I think it's super relaxed and way more way less emotionally like fraught than any other form of
Yeah.
crowdfunding. So like we almost always now start out with like itch funding just to get the beta and most viable version of the project, then just do a bigger crowdfunding push for the actual print run. And it's been way easier to get stuff made and projects moved forward. And so I'm always excited when I see somebody else who's popped up and using it. You've got the hardback out now. You've got people are really excited about the game. It's also now a very a genre that a lot of people are looking to emulate. And again, having read a number of Souls-like games at this point now, there are two that really stand out to me in Runecairn. Having now played it, absolutely top of my list. Really, really enjoyed it. If
Cool.
people want to play, because you have the option that people can in the advanced rules play with multiple people, how does that shift or change things a little bit?
So the advanced rules introduces co-op or invasions essentially. So it emulates what happens in Dark Souls games. So for co-op, if you wanted to play with another player, with another adventurer, you can use an idol that you can use to summon in that other adventurer from another plane, another world, even a dead adventurer, and they would join your party that way. So as you're the host of the adventure, you're the primary adventurer. If you die, they disappear. They return to their home plane. And same thing that happens if they die, they would return to their home plane. So because one of the main issues with when I was designing Runecairn, when I was thinking about having a party, like what happens to the bonfire, or like what happens when one person dies? Does everyone die? Like, do you need a minimum? Like, do you need half the party to die in order for everyone to wake up at the bonfire? I think that's how the Dark Souls 5e does it. Like, if half the party dies, then everyone goes back to the bonfire. So I wanted something a bit more elegant, and it just worked. It seemed to work the best with one-on-one.
Are you saying D&D 5e Dark Souls is not elegant? I can't. What? No, I love that. I love that you said it. I love the concept more though. No, I think it's tremendous. I have to know though. I think for a lot of other people, and Merkin actually just tossed it up over on YouTube also. You're doing We Deal in Lead now. What is the future of Runecairn for you? So is the hardcover the bow you're putting on it? You might come back and play with it some, or do you have other things you'd really love to see happen with it in the future?
So yeah, I'd like to keep going with it. I've got another adventure planned called the Icebound Grave. So that's going to be after I finish We Deal in Lead. It kind of jumped, like it leapfrogged a bit. I was going to do Icebound Grave, and then all of my ideas kind of coalesced for We Deal in Lead. So I was like, might as well start on that now. But yeah, that's in the works. It's going to be another small adventure like Beneath the Broken Sword. I like the idea of expanding the world a bit more, potentially bringing in different types of magic. I'm working on a new magic system in We Deal in Lead, so I might port that back to Runecairn and have it be a bit more ritual based and a bit more not as fancy and magic as Runecairn is now, but a bit more esoteric and weird. Have that bring that edge to Runecairn. So yeah, definitely, I'm still planning on going forward with more Runecairn.
Awesome. Just a final reminder, for folks who have not yet, go ahead and hit follow, and if you haven't, hit ! key item to get entered into a chance to win a copy of the game from our good friends over at Exalted Funeral. We're going to give that away in just 1 second. Trasher Armor wants to pitch a Troika Runecairn crossover so you can use Vamp Nugula in Runecairn. You can use Vamp Nugula in Runecairn. It's fine. It's easy to do. I can send you the Runecairn stats for Vamp Nugula if you want. It's another great question. Roll Christopher wants to know, is there a third-party license for Runecairn? If other people want to create Runecairn content, can they?
There is, yeah. So Runecairn, the core rules was released with a Creative Commons by SA license, BYSA. And I've also released a third-party license for Runecairn. So on my website, or on the Runecairn website, which is runecairn.biodenspiritRPG.com, it has details of the SRD. It's got details of the third-party license. It's got a character sheet that you can download. And I'll be updating that with advanced rules content as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, I can't wait to see what adventures people make with Runecairn.
Awesome. Well, a couple things we have coming up while you're thinking about the Runecairn hacks that you're going to make. Tomorrow, we're going to be sitting down with Nora Rose from Monkey Paw Games up in Canada to talk about a whole lot of things, but specifically the Chapbook Co-op, which is a partnership between them, Ratty and Canady, Loot the Room, and why am I forgetting somebody? I want to say Spear Witch, but I could be wrong about that, to help get more small pamphlet-sized games into print. But we're also going to talk about Nora's whole design ethos, the pink hack, a lot of the great work that she does in the community. I'm very excited to sit down for that conversation because we've been trying to schedule it for like 3 months. They're also an upcoming contributor on Through the Void's full beta release, and then we were playing Cedar and Stone, which is a Together We Go game. If you like NSR concepts or narrative forward and conscientious OSR interpretations, then please come join us for Cedar and Stone by ZW Garth, who's going to come run it for us. We'll be playing as warrior poet exorcists traveling the land. We're called vagabonds and solving the problems of local settlements and communities. So come back and join us for that. I'm very much looking forward to playing that on Saturday afternoon. We've got a whole bunch of other great games coming up. Best way to find out about them is hit follow or subscribe here on Twitch. Another great place you can catch all of our backlog, including our conversation with Jason Morningstar yesterday, who is, I think, one of the most current influential designers in the indie scene currently, somebody who really opened up a very new way of thinking about story games. So like that, we talked to Jason yesterday. You can find all that over on our YouTube channel if you aren't subscribed there. Hit that up also. But it's been such a great time having you on, Colin, getting a chance to play this. If people want to follow you or your work, what's the best place for them to do that?
So you can find me on Twitter at biodenspiritRPG.com or my website, biodenspiritRPG.com.
Awesome. Well, until next time, we don't have a good way that we end these streams, so Colin and I are just going to wave at the camera until I take us offline. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us. Oh, wait, no. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. The giveaway.
You guys were all worried for a second. You guys were always worried. I was like, wait, who won? Close giveaway. Here we go. Skullboy, you have won. Are you still there, Sam? Sam, if you're still there, shoot me a message. If not, I'll shoot you a message later on. We'll get a copy of that over to you. But Sam is a good friend of the stream, so even if they weren't able to make it to the end of the stream, we'll still send them that copy of the game. I'll shoot Sam a message in just a second to find that out if they aren't in chat anymore. But we should also shame them all tomorrow. If you guys are not following Sam's amazing daily art streams, you should absolutely go do that. They are one of our favorite creators to follow and work with also too. But now, until next time, we don't have a good way to end the stream, so we're just going to wave at the camera until I take us offline. Bye, everybody.